We had discussions with multiple professionals on the taxes that they have to pay. You see, the discussion is on whether these professionals have to sort of unfairly be burdened because of all what is happening here, lack of revenue, over expenditure, debt, all these things. While we all recognize that taxes are the primary source of revenue for the government, something that we have to always keep in mind, sir, is that taxes must be equitable, fair. It is in that context that we have gone beyond just being critical, and we are attempting to provide alternate solutions to the government and to the IMF and everyone else who's working together to take this country out of bankruptcy. And on that, we have been waiting for a text message from China, hoping for news that the president was able to get the Chinese to agree on a debt restructure that is acceptable to the Paris Club and the rest of the creditors. We haven't still received that text message, and in all expectations, we hope, you see, that he'll be able to find a solution. It doesn't really matter which side of the aisle we are in today, but if we are unable to get a commitment from the Chinese, the problems are going to be fairly more complicated than they are. We can all say, give us the government, we'll solve the problems. It is not that easy. You have to face reality, right? So I'm hoping that the discussions would be successful. Now, having said that, coming back to our point on equitability or equity in taxes, what we have found, Honorable Sir, is that the government expected to raise 100 billion rupees from pay tax and 115 billion rupees from personal income tax, which you have to voluntarily declare. And as at end of September, what we found is that on the voluntarily assessment personal income tax, collection will be about 35 to 40 billion rupees by the end of the year. That is, expectation was 115 billion, but we'll end up with about 40 billion. Now on the pay taxes, what we found is the exact opposite, and that is, they expected 100 billion, they are going to receive at least 125 billion if at the current rate of compliance of 70%. And if everyone complies with the law, they will actually go on to make 178 billion. Now, let's make a point here on compliance. Everybody has to be compliant. If you are deducting pay tax from an employee, then you have to actually send that money across to the Department of Inland Revenue. You can't just deduct taxes and not send it across to the department, right? So every enterprise must be compliant. And if you are collecting pay taxes, then those pay taxes must go to the treasury. So we are expecting 100% compliance. What this means, Honorable Sir, is that there has been an original underestimation of roughly 25 billion, or that is with 70% compliance, or 80 billion on 100% compliance. So even though one can argue that at the point of making the estimate last year, that certain assumptions were made and therefore you couldn't have 100% accurate assessment, looking back, we now know that those assumptions were wrong. So we now know that the pay tax structure going from 6% to 36% in slabs of 41,667 rupees a month was actually an overburden on the working professionals. So let us not argue just on a political stage without having any data. Let us argue based on the data that we currently have. Now, what we have done is we have come up with an alternate proposal, and we are submitting that alternate proposal for your perusal, more than perusal, for a discussion with us, because we are a responsible opposition. We are to take office at the next democratic change, and we also have told the IMF, look, there are certain points that we do not agree, and one is this overburdening of taxes of the middle class. People are talking about leaving their jobs for better prospects overseas. So what we have here, sir, is just an illustration of the tax yield curve. What you see in this red dotted line is the 2019 tax structure. That is when Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa brought it down to 18% max with a 3 million deduction on top. What you have here in the orange line is a current tax structure. And what you have in green, Honorable Chair, is what we have proposed. Now, what this means is that you can actually collect the expected 100 billion rupees by reducing the marginal tax rates from going from 0 to 36 to going from 0 to 24. So what is proposed by us is that for the first 100,000 there is no tax. For the second 50,000 the slab is 6%. For the third 50,000 10%. Fourth 14, fifth 16, sixth 18, seventh 20, eighth 22, ninth 24, and 10th onwards 24%. What this means is, like I told you, if at 100% compliance, you can, given the data that is available, you see there is a fundamental issue whether actual pay tax number is the 200,000 we are being given by the IRD, or like Honorable Eran Wickramaratne spoke earlier said, it has to be over 1 million. That we can debate later. I am talking about the numbers that are available to us. We can go up to 91 billion. 91 billion, including a temporary surcharge of 15%, not 15% additional tax, additional 15% on the tax. Suppose you pay 100,000 in tax, so you pay 15,000 rupees more on tax, and that also the way it is done is from 750,000 to 1 million rupees a month, 10% surcharge, 1 to 1.25 million rupees a month, 15% surcharge, and over 1.25 million rupees a month only, sir, it will be a 20% surcharge. In fact, if we have the data on actual taxpayers from 500,000 a month and above, these estimates can be further improved, and my hunch is that if those numbers are available, the surcharge will not be 8 billion. The surcharge will be a lot more than that. So what I'm saying is, it is possible for you people in government and us in opposition to actually
Honourable Member, you have another 2 more minutes.
Thank you very much. To deal with the real problem that these individuals are facing. It is very easy to say, sir, oh, we will fix it. It is all general. There is no time to talk general, because individuals are looking at their own individual commitments they have to make. When we spoke to the gentlemen and ladies from FUTA, some people told us that their take home after deductions on their loans was something like 3,500 rupees. This is a ridiculous state of affairs. So I will table this. Honorable Patirna is also here, and he is a member of the cabinet, and I expect you, sir, to take this up in your relevant fora. And let's take the case of a senior professor who makes 400,000 rupees. Currently, he or she has to make 70,500 rupees in tax. Actually, that comes to 18%. When people say we have to pay 36%, let's be quite clear. You know, first 100,000 is exempted, and the next 41,667 is at 6%, 12%, 18%, and so on. So the tax yield curve actually sort of stabilizes at around 30, under 35%, even at the highest 2.5 million rupees a month. So what I'm trying to say is, if you go with the new proposal that we are making, the tax will be 42,000 a month. So a senior professor's tax burden will fall from 18% to 10.5%. And at 10.5%, Honorable Balasurya, I don't think anybody can actually make a serious allegation.
Your speech is very valuable, but time is up.
I'm stopping in 30 seconds. The serious allegation of unfair treatment. So therefore, there are alternatives. The data is there. So in the next budget, we are proposing that the pay tax structure can be adjusted in such a way that the burden on average can come down by 29% of the current tax burden, and yet you people can make the same amount that you wanted to make. Given that time is up, I have to stop. But
thank you, Doctor.
Like I said, as a responsible opposition, we are at any time willing to discuss this matter with you on behalf of the professionals. Thank you.
Thank you.